Check 1, 2. Can you even hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm changing it now. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
And welcome back to another episode of Nailing History. I'm your host, one of the hosts, Matt. I'm here with John, the other host of the podcast. How's it going, John?
Going good. It's getting spooky around here. A little spooky.
Gets a little bit darker, a little bit early.
I'm counting down the minutes, the hours, the daylight savings time.
Are they doing that this year?
Going into it.
I thought that got like canceled. Or is this the last time the clocks are changing?
Ever?
I thought we were getting rid of daylight saving.
No. Definitely not. Where'd you hear that?
The Sunshine Protection Act, which would make daylight savings time permanent, stalled in the House of Representatives in 2022 and has not been brought to the floor for a vote in 2023. With the current Congress ending in January 2025, it's unlikely to pass before then. The Sunshine Protection Act might cancel or might make daylight saving permanent, which what would that mean?
We're going into it, right?
Are we? No, I think the summer's daylight saving, isn't it?
Daylight savings time 2024? Oh, you're right. Yeah, March until November is daylight savings time.
So we wouldn't be going back. Well, I'll tell you what. Thank goodness we are, because I haven't changed my clocks back in my car from the last time from spring. So I'm still an hour behind on there. So it's all going to right the ship in a week here, I guess.
So is it safe to say that you would vote down the Protect the Sun Act, Sunshine Act?
Yes.
I've seen it.
Well, speaking of historical things, John, I guess we got to circle back to, we ran into, you got a little bit of some bad news as far as your family's culture a couple weeks ago. And I know we're a little late to bring it up on the podcast, but do you know what I'm talking about?
I have an inkling.
There's a bit of shocking revelation that was released through possibly the BBC, not really sure the source, but turns out your boy Christopher Columbus may not have been Italian after all. All this time been claimed by the Italian citizens of this country that they were the ones who were responsible for founding the country. And it all got ripped away from them in the year 2024 when news finally broke that he most likely was of Spanish Jewish heritage.
Is Sephardic Jewish, right?
I don't know. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's a certain sect of Judaism that were based primarily in Spain until they all got kicked out in 1492.
Seems like it adds up.
The same year he came over.
Yeah, it seems like it adds up.
Almost like he was like, "Hey, yeah, I'll work for you, Ferdinand and Isabella." Like, sure, I'll go find China for you. Sure, I know back door. I'll find our way. I'll find it. Sure.
I mean, it just makes me really wonder. What?
I was going to say, then all of his other people, I guess, if the facts are the facts, if he was Jewish himself, maybe he was just getting out of Dodge. He saw the writing on the wall. I think they were all booted out to Greece. I think the Spanish king and queen booted them all to Greece.
Well, it's weird. The whole situation, who claims Christopher Columbus is like kind of a weird,
like, who doesn't claim him?
It seems like it's just strange because it seems like in the late 1800s, there were all these immigrants in America, and they were all being persecuted or all wanting to be like the dominant immigrant group of the United States, and they were kind of using that that Christopher Columbus was like part of they were the reason that it was founded to make them be the most prominent immigrant group. It seemed to be like kind of the case back then. And the Italians kind of won out. Kind of weird.
It's just a proud heritage. And I mean, he's the Western European that founded, the Western Hemisphere. I just think it's a claim that people want to.
Well, I don't know about that. We have a loyal listener who wanted me to make sure I brought up that Leif Erikson beat him by like 400 years or something like that.
That's true.
So he
it's
didn't.
True. The Vikings were hanging around.
So he didn't. He also only hung out in the Caribbean. I mean, I just don't get it. Leif Erikson's a cooler name. So we talk about Tadeusz Kościuszko and how he wasn't as prominent because of his name. I mean, Christopher Columbus, you have the alliteration, but like Leif that's a sweet name.
Leif Garrett. Yeah, pretty sweet.
Sure. But I mean, I read something. It was funny. I was like looking into it. I was just kind of looking into like the facts of Columbus, and there was this one quote that was like, kind of like, why do Italians like pick him or like claim him or whatever? And it's he set sail under the Spanish flag, using Spanish ships, using Spanish money, and claiming land for Spain. Are we noticing a pattern here? Spain, Spanish. Do you notice which country is missing here? Italy, or any other country that is not Spain. Regardless, Italians have laid claim on Columbus, celebrating him after they denied him. Talk about jumping on the bandwagon. Ooh.
Well, if we want to really split hairs, I think he wasn't Italian. He would have been Genovese at the most, because
I don't think
Italy was not a unified state until the 1860s.
That's a whole nother point. That's a whole great point. He wasn't even. It was just like, it seems like it was the Italian immigrants like kind of really pushing for it, which is fine. I'm not saying anything. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, but it's actually strange because I think even back in Italy, maybe the grandchildren or the great grandchildren of that first generation of immigrants, because a lot of them came from southern Italy, which before the unification of Italy, southern Italy was its own kingdom, and it in Genoa, they're like two different countries. They were totally different, and so I don't even think that the people that came over here even knew probably that much about him. I would say he probably wasn't taught in classes in Italy at that time. Yeah, I just think Italian Americans, it's kind of become its own subculture, and I think it's just a good way. I mean,
it's cool. I get it. It's kind of, it reminds me of like people in Philadelphia kind of claim like, oh, the country was born here, or freedom was born in Philadelphia. It's kind of a cool thing to feather to put in your cap, if I could quote one Emperor Norton from a couple episodes ago. So I get it, but like it just, it's funny. Well, to me, there's all this controversy now surrounding the Columbus Day, and do we celebrate it as Columbus Day? Do we celebrate it as Indigenous Persons Day? And like, I just don't really. First of all, let me be clear with you. This is one of the holidays that I feel like I could do without, just in general. I think we have too many holidays in this country. It's a banker's holiday, as I like to call them, where some people have off, some people don't. Doesn't really make much sense. Stock markets.
I didn't have off.
Stock markets closed, I believe, on Columbus Day.
No.
I want to say it is.
I work for an Italian company now, and we didn't get the day off, so obviously they don't love him that much.
What did they think about him? Well, now they really must be. Their heads must be spinning.
Well, yeah, it's been swept under the rug. Has there been like
a somber mood in the office, kind of, about the whole situation? Because first they were calling him like a genocide maniac, and now they're even, not only are they doing that, but then they're ripping his legacy out of because I think you were very proud of, isn't there like somewhat of a saying from an Italian culture saying, we found it, what is it?
We discovered it, we named it, we built it. The Italian Sons and Daughters of America. It's from an article in 2021.
Oh boy. Well,
9 words are all it takes to capture Italians' indelible contributions to America.
I'd be a little piffed if I were the Spanish.
Well, the Spanish, I don't think, had a very big diaspora 200 years, 300, 400 years after the man made this voyage. So, as they say, if you're not, you got to be in the game to, to call the shots. And I don't think enough Spanish came over here in the 1800s to even.
Well, so then I was thinking, I'm kind of thinking like, why do we even celebrate Columbus Day? What's the big deal? I mean, he didn't land in America. He wasn't looking for America. He didn't know he found America. Guy was kind of like, I mean, he just like did he ever learn it? By the time he died, did he know that he discovered another country, or did he think he was walking around India? So what are we celebrating here? What are we celebrating here? This is nonsense. So anyway, I'm like trying to get to the bottom of it, thinking about it a couple weeks ago. This is coming in. I'm just like, this is just weird. And then I found out that the holiday was actually started to support Italian immigrants from prosecution, and as an apology for a big lynching that happened down in New Orleans in 1892. So 400 years after Columbus sailed the ocean blue, United States President Benjamin Harrison instituted Columbus Day as a one-time holiday to celebrate Italian-American contributions to society, partly as an apology following the lynching of 11 Italian immigrants in New Orleans. Then decades later, in 1934, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt rendered Columbus Day a federal holiday. There you go. Nothing like spending the federal money.
And again, those immigrants that were down in New Orleans were Sicilians, almost exclusively Sicilians at that point. And I guess maybe Benjamin Harrison showing his ignorance of geography.
Well, it seems it seems like the Italians in general were behind it, so why not just get on their side?
No, I don't know. But Northern Italians, like if you just look at the immigration waves, Northern Italians, including Genoa, where Columbus would have been from, or where
he wasn't. He was Spanish. Face the facts.
Even if he was Italian, he was Northern Italian. He wasn't even Southern Italian, and they still look down their nose at the South. But the South, maybe they're not so smart. I don't know. But a better question: who's America named after? Another Italian.
Great.
Americo Vespucci. So what about him?
I don't know. What about him? Why don't we celebrate America Day?
Maybe we should be celebrating Americo Vespucci instead.
I think we should be celebrating Leif Erikson. That name's awesome.
It's a good name. I
think that was like Eric's son.
Canada, though.
I know he landed in like Newfoundland or whatever. So yeah, I guess it wouldn't be that. It would be, but Columbus landed in the Caribbean. I don't understand it. It makes no sense. He didn't even land on mainland, did he? Did he ever come up to the mainland, to the continental United States? Kind of just really chaps my. There's been all this fighting about if we should celebrate Christopher Columbus, blah, blah, blah. I feel like maybe somebody should just come out and say, listen, the whole holiday is just for Italian-American heritage appreciation, so why don't we just call it for what it is? Why name it something that's like super controversial when that's not even really the basis of the holiday? And how come no one talks about this, man? I'm bringing it up.
That Columbus Day, they should come back to just the fact that it is an Italian-American holiday, and that's why it was created in the first place, rather than for all Americans.
Has anybody said that ever? Have you ever heard that before? There's all this argument about like, why do we celebrate Christopher Columbus? He was a bad person who, enslaved people and blah, 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 blah.
Right. But
it's like, maybe the real thing is like, why do we even celebrate it? We celebrate it to acknowledge the Italian Americans' contribution to society,
which is.
But then that doesn't hold. I guess that doesn't hold enough weight to allow the bankers and the government to be off on a Monday in October. So once you start talking about that, everyone's gonna be like, well, then why do we have off? And then they're gonna say, oh shoot, we got to be quiet about it. So maybe there's a little conspiracy there about people who just don't want to work. Yeah. I mean, in reality, if you knew that it was just to celebrate Italian American heritage, I mean, we have a million days like that. But yeah, I thought that was just kind of interesting to talk about. I know John was a little upset about it when he learned about that. But Leif Erikson is pretty cool. Like his last name is because he was the son of Eric the Great, I think, or Eric the something. And that's cool. Like when people's names used to be like who your last name was like the son of whoever you were. So like my dad's name's Tim, so my name would be Matt Timson. That's a cool name because it doesn't work. Timothy son.
Matt Timson.
That'd be interesting.
It could be cool. What would be mine?
Oh, what was your dad's name?
Peter.
John Peterson. Oh, well, there you go. Lame. Like, I think you maybe like related to Scott.
I don't know. Maybe
Peterson of murder fame. Was he Peterson or Peterman? Scott Peterson and Lacey Peterson. Yeah, maybe his dad's name was Peter.
It's possible. But I don't care that much about Christopher Columbus Day. I guess growing up, it was fun that we had the day off too.
I don't think we did. I don't think we did. Did we? Also, you know what else I learned? The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria weren't the actual names of the ships that they sailed on. Well, the Santa Maria was actually the name, but the Pinta is like Spanish for prostitute. That's what the sailors nicknamed it. And it just stuck.
Yeah, those sailors. Dirty old men.
It's just, that's stuck. It's just funny to me.
Yeah. No, I think there's other people that are probably more, even in the age of discovery, that are probably more worth celebrating. Like Ferdinand Magellan, dude, like circumnavigated the world. Like, I just think there's, even from an explorer standpoint, there's probably like more, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just cooler.
Yeah. I mean, I guess whatever. If you gotta get a federal holiday, but I don't know. Whatever. I mean, he landed, well, whatever. Christopher Columbus, we speak thy name. Although it might not have actually been his real name.
What was it? Christopher Weisenstein?
Christopher Schwartz.
Christopher Green.
Oh, man. No, it was either Cristoforo Colombo, Cristobal Colon, even Xpoual de Colon. However you pronounce that, Xpoual. I don't know. But anyway, just wanted to get that out there because I was just doing some thinking, and I'm like, whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but there is some. I just think they should come out and just, call it what it is and say what we're actually celebrating when we talk about Christopher Columbus.
It's an Italian American.
It was literally never meant to celebrate the man Christopher Columbus.
It was to give a nod to the Italian Americans who felt threatened and attacked.
Mm-hmm. They should just call it an Italian American Day or something cooler than that. Who would have been a better figure to use to celebrate Italian citizenship? I guess that's pretty much all that it would be.
Joe DiMaggio. At least he is American. Like, he played an American game, a sport. This is Joe DiMaggio Day. Like, Italian Americans can be proud that they got a day, and he's a great baseball player that like everyone loved and everyone like knows.
Didn't he like beat up Marilyn Monroe?
Did he?
I think so. So not everybody loves him.
Are you sure? I think of Jake LaMotta.
I don't think so. Anybody else?
Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra was also abusive, I believe, but people do love him. Could call Frank Sinatra Day. That's not bad. What about Garibaldi Day?
Giuseppe? I mean,
he
was
like
in America at one point?
Isn't Garibaldi kind of like the guy who's like the founding father of modern day Italy?
Oh, he was part of the unification for sure. He was a bit of a rock star in his time. But,
so it'd be like a George Washington.
Was in America, like, it'd be like before the unification. He was up in Staten Island.
I think that would be.
Months.
I think that would be a good answer. I would say, just change it to Garibaldi Day. Is there anything negative about him?
He was kind of a dictator. He kind of was a little out for himself.
Aren't they all?
But then he kind of tried to act a little bit like Washington and kind of giving up power. But his biggest thing was just unifying Italy, and he didn't really care how he did it or who was unifying it. He kind of sold himself out like he was maybe a Republican, but then he realized that wasn't going anywhere. So he joined the monarchy in the North because...
Nailing history solved it. Change Columbus Day to Garibaldi Day. Case closed. Proof in the pudding. You can go and tell that. So anyway, it's Halloween. This episode's going to get released on Halloween, so I wanted to kind of just talk about Halloween a little bit. Get back to some of the questions that we had. Let me get to this. We had some a couple weeks ago. If you guys remember, I did an episode on Emperor Norton, and the basis for talking about him was that I thought he would maybe be a good Halloween costume to be if you wanted to impress some people at work or at school or anything. So I had asked the question to our fans, if you could dress up as anybody in the Nailing History universe, as far as where we, like, people that we've talked to, like, who would you want to dress up as? And we got 2 responses. First response, I'll just read them out loud. First response was, I'd probably dress up like Sidney Simpson in a dance recital costume, or Princess Diana. What other women have you talked about? So that was a good... Sidney Simpson, if you remember, is the daughter of O.J. Simpson, and the night of the alleged murder of Nicole Brown Simpson, Sidney Simpson was performing in a dance recital, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So that's where that comes from. That was good. That's a good one. Princess Diana would be good. Another one would be pretty good, would be the Fiat. The white Fiat. That would be a good costume.
You see the car with the head.
Yeah, just like the guy, yeah, whatever that guy's name who, like, his head fell off. Like, have some guy in a Fiat burned alive with his head fallen off. That'd be a good costume.
Well, what outfit would you be if you were wearing Princess Di? If you were dressed as Paris? I mean, she had a lot of looks.
I don't know. Let's see. I think I might have known who this was. So let's see if we can get this person on the call, because we do have a little bit more to talk about here. Want to see if
Yo, what's up?
Hey, Emily M. This is Matt and John with Nailing History. We have you on the podcast here. How's it going?
Hey, it's going good on my way to my hip hop class.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good. Well, this is actually perfect timing.
Okay.
We are going through our fan mail. We're talking a little bit about Halloween. We're recording our Halloween episode here. And we got some fan mail that I think may have been from you. I'd probably dress up like, when asked who you would dress up as in the Nailing History universe, I'd probably dress up like Sidney Simpson in a dance recital costume, or Princess Diana. So we wondered, how So Sidney Simpson is a good answer. We kind of got to that, but we were just kind of wondering, if you were to dress as Princess Diana, how would you dress as her? Would you wear the revenge dress, as they call it? What's that?
I'm trying to think. I think I'd go one of her like iconic.
Would you dress up as the Princess Diana Beanie Baby?
Oh, or would you dress up like the Princess Diana Beanie Baby?
Well, I do own that, so that would be helpful. No, I think I'd dress in one of her like iconic 90s fashion, like leisure fashion.
Oh,
like, she's like an iconic sweatshirt.
Like a Disney sweatshirt, or like, I think, didn't she meet?
Oh, I think it says Eagles on it. I think
the Eagles. There you go. The Eagles sweatshirt when she came to Philadelphia.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Good answer.
Like, high top sneakers and scrunchy socks.
That would be pretty good. That'd be a good costume. That'd be a good costume.
You left off the last part of my fan mail.
I was going to get to that. I didn't know if you had time, but we can touch that a little bit. Her last part, which I did talk about on the podcast, was, what other women have you talked about? I don't know what you were necessarily trying to get at, as in we don't talk about women enough on the podcast? Or were you just asking?
Meant that, yeah, I mean, I think you talk about history from like very long ago, so then there's not really very many women included.
Well, we talked about Helen Keller being a communist, maybe being a communist. If you remember, our real original longtime listeners may remember, we did an entire episode dedicated to the women of the American Revolution.
Oh, did they get cards?
We assigned them queens.
That's right. You're right.
And that was Abigail Adams. I had my Abigail Adams, Deborah Sampson, Molly Pitcher, and the fourth one is
Mercy Otis Warren.
And Mercy Otis Warren. There were four other women that we talked about.
The history of the American Revolution.
But you do make a good point. But just, for anyone, those are all very good costumes to do. But I do like your Princess Diana in the Philadelphia Eagles sweatshirt.
Computer wear. Well, as I'm on my way to dance class, I'm dressed up like a black cat, which I guess kind of goes with the same.
Oh shoot! It's a shame you didn't dress up like Princess Diana. That would have been good.
I know. I don't have that sweatshirt. Maybe they have it at John's Supply in downtown Westchester. They sell those retro things.
Well, you have a couple more days to prepare.
Okay. Well, thanks for checking in. I appreciate the personal response to my fan mail.
That's what we'll do. That's what we promise with our fan mail.
Yeah. Well, I hope your listeners and fans will send you more fan mail so they can hear the personalized response they'll get.
Yeah, that was the plan. That was the plan.
Good. All
right, Emily M. We'll enjoy your dance recital and or dance class.
Enjoy, have fun.
And I hope you have a good
Brown, unless you're dressed like Sidney Brown right now. And you
Sydney,
go to a dance recital
Sidney
and you're just
Simpson.
being coy.
Sidney Simpson.
Sydney, what did I say?
Sidney Brown.
Oh, Sidney Simpson.
I don't know. Was she dressed up with cat ears? That's what I have on my head right now.
I'm not sure. You're the pro. You're the O.J. Simpson expert.
That's true. I don't think she was wearing a black cat costume in those pictures that we saw.
Well, you know what? Bring it up in class and see what they think. Hey, when you're practicing your dance recital, be like, hey, what do you guys think Sidney Simpson wore the night that her dad killed his mom?
I'm sure that'll come up organically. I'll wiggle it in there.
Yeah. Just thinking. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, just thinking about it.
I'm trying to get a Halloween costume.
I like it. I'll do it.
All right, Emily M. Will enjoy your class.
All right, thanks. See ya.
Have fun.
See ya.
See ya, Emily M.
Thanks. Bye.
It leads me to my next point, thinking about it. It'd be a little tough to do Sidney Brown Simpson, considering it might involve a little bit of blackface with the Halloween costume.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking about this morning, going through like old or Halloween. I'm not a huge fan of Halloween, which I kind of alluded to in my when we talked about. Emperor Norton. I just don't like Halloween. I was never good at thinking of costumes, and there's so much pressure to be clever or funny, and I'm not really either of those when it comes to costumes or anything like that. And I was just thinking there were two separate instances in my Halloween costume era where I would bring up Halloween costumes where I did do blackface. So like
hopefully pre 2012.
Yeah,
probably be fine. Probably get away with it.
Well, I don't know. So the first instance of it was in 2000 I don't know what year it was. I was probably in like 5th or 6th grade, so probably like early 2001, and I went as Jamaican. I wanted to be like a Jamaican, like a Rastafari guy. I don't know who had it, but I had I'd already had like the weird hat with the dreadlocks like sewn into it, like not the weird hat, but like the funny hat with the dreadlocks. So I was like, oh, that'll be easy. And I went with my dad to the mall and I bought a tie-dye t-shirt, and I was going to wear a tie-dye t-shirt, jeans, and like have that on and just be Jamaican. And I remember my dad went out to get me like the makeup to wear for being Jamaican, like the color to paint my skin. And he came back with some really, really dark paint. And I remember thinking, and like kind of not freaking out, but just being like, Jamaicans aren't that dark, which is like not true at all. I'm like, Jamaicans are more tan. They're not dark. Like I had no idea what I was being. I had no like idea of like the Jamaican culture. I guess probably the only thing
being Hispanic.
Well, probably the only thing like Bob Marley is a lighter skinned Jamaican, but I think he's like, I think he's only part Jamaican. I'm not really sure. Don't quote me on that.
I mean,
so like my only picture of a Jamaican was Bob Marley. So I'm like, Bob Marley's not that. My dad bought me dark brown. So then I was going to a party that with that costume, and I freaked out, and finally like he went out and we got like a lighter brown. So it was probably probably a little bit less offensive, but then a little bit more of an issue in college, freshman year of college. And again, I'm not clever, so I've ripped this idea off of somebody else that I know, family member maybe. I don't want to dime anybody out, but when he was a couple years older than me, and when he was in college, I saw a couple pictures of him. He went as a slang term for being intoxicated, S-faced. Do you know where I'm getting at, John?
Yeah.
S-faced. Mm-hmm. So all he did was painted his face brown and like walked around and was like, "Oh, I'm S-faced." And I thought that was funny. So my freshman year, which would have been 2006, I did the same thing. And I walked around with really dark brown face, basically blackface. Like there's no way around it. Like if you saw a picture of this, there's no way. I don't know if the picture exists. I'm sure pictures exist. It was on Facebook at one point. I don't have Facebook anymore, but people who had pictures of me, I know I was on Facebook with that. But I did, to make it clear that I wasn't going as blackface, I did write S-faced on a white t-shirt, like in black marker, so that people would know that that's what. So I was at least conscious that I was probably doing something that I shouldn't have been doing, but I did it anyway. And really, it's kind of bad to think about. But that's a perfect situation of where, like, if somebody saw that and it was out of context, like if for some reason in the future this podcast hits big and now I'm just saying this out loud, so at least I'm covering for myself ahead of time. If somebody was to see me like that, that would look bad. And I don't know if it's necessarily a bad. Now, was it bad? I was being not blackface, but it looks like it. It's a real gray area.
Well, I think you were probably a little more sensitive to the fact just by putting that on your chest, like by writing that, than Justin Trudeau was. And he's still the Prime Minister of Canada.
That's true. I think someone gave me some real, like, dude, you look like you're doing blackface. Like, it was a thing, like blackface. Like when I did the Jamaican thing when we were younger, like I don't even know if there was any conscious, especially at our age, there was no blackface being a thing. So like there was no thought of it. But by the time we were 18, 2006, I mean, I know people were like, dude, you look like you're doing blackface. I walked around town like that for twice. I think I did it. I think I did it for 2 separate nights. Good thing. Oh, hey, I could have gotten beat up pretty bad on that one, but I didn't. So that was good. I don't know. What's your favorite Halloween costume?
I was similar. I mean, I never really could come up with anything too good. I dressed like Pinocchio once, but I actually don't know if that was for Halloween. I was going to a pea themed party and I had to dress as someone beginning with the letter P. And so I bought a pair of really tight, like red pants in the women's section. They were like skin tight, red suspenders, a little like long nose thing. It wasn't like over the top excessive long like Pinocchio nose, but it was like you can kind of tell what I was going for. The hat, and then like a yellow polo.
How old were you then?
It was pretty good. 25, 6.
Okay. What about when you were a kid? How long do you remember, like when you stopped going trick-or-treating? How old you were?
I don't know, maybe like 12.
Yeah.
Because each year, right, you just wanted to stay out later. You kind of didn't want to go at like 6 when all the kids were out. You wanted to use it as an excuse to like hang around town at night, like school night. And but I think eventually I just kind of grew out of it.
Yeah.
Like,
do you remember what your last?
Do you
remember what your last Halloween costume was? I feel like your last Halloween costume is either going to be like the worst one put together that was barely a costume, or it's going to be like a pretty funny, like most relatable thing now. Because when you're 12 or 13, like what you dressed up as.
I know it was the Riddler one year from Batman Forever, but I don't think that was my last Halloween.
That's pretty good. Like purchased costume or.
Yeah, purchase costume with the cane and everything.
Yeah.
Question mark on the top.
That's cool.
What else?
You ever do Christopher Columbus? That would have been good.
No.
Nice little Italian boy dressing up like Christopher Columbus.
I think my mom knew even back then. She knew something was up with him.
My last costume was that I went trick-or-treating in was Fred Durst. It's awesome. I was pumped about that. I remember
the red hat.
I had the red Yankees hat. Yeah, I had the red Yankees hat, and I painted on a little like chin goatee or whatever he had, and it was one of those things where like I didn't have anything, got invited trick-or-treating last minute. I already had the red Yankees hat because I was such a big Limp Bizkit fan, so I already had the hat. So
did you have the pants?
Like I think I just wore khakis. Probably had Vans already, and then I had like a snowboarding jacket that I never snowboarded, but I had like a baggy snowboarding jacket that I used. Like it was like I was trying to be like Fred Durst in the Nookie music video. And that was the last time. So that would have been probably 6th or 7th grade. Probably 7th grade would be my guess. That I went trick or treating. It was probably the last time. And then you're old enough, you're going to parties, like Halloween parties. After that, from what I remember, when I would be invited. When I was invited, I'd go to a Halloween party.
Hey man, you got to crash if you got the look, dude.
What were you saying?
Any plans to dress up this year?
Nah. I'm actually going to be away, which is awesome because I'm, where I live, just in general, I hate being at home for Halloween because I'm a single guy. I don't like answering my door for children to give them candy. It's weird. The whole thing is just strange for me. Like, I can't get excited about. I don't care what these kids are dressed up as.
You feel weird getting excited that kids are knocking at your door.
Well, no, like more like I open the door, like, oh, what are you? Oh, you're such a cute princess. Like, I'm not going to say that. So then, like, when I open the door here, see ya. Like, it's weird. I don't like it. It's a weird thing to do as a single male for me. Just personal choice. I don't like it, so I don't do it. I usually try to stay away. And luckily this year, I'm actually going to be in the candy capital of the world, Hershey, Pennsylvania, for a conference. So I don't have to worry about it. What about you? Are you dressing up this year?
No plans to. I had to dress up for work.
You should dress up as Emperor Norton, dude.
I'd blow him away. But no, we'll just come home and we'll do the trick-or-treaters. We live in a little townhouse community, so we'll get all the trick-or-treaters.
Let's see if we can get someone else on here.
Yo.
Hey, Brian K. This is Matt and John with the Nailing History podcast. How's it going?
What's going on, guys?
Get in your radio voice.
One of our favorites.
One of our fans. We're just recording a little Halloween episode. We wanted to like reach out to the fans and just have a little chat about Halloween.
Oh, great.
We've already called half of them. We've got called half of all of our fans.
Yeah, we called half of our fans, and you're one of the few that picked up. So that's good. Hey,
alrighty.
Just curious, what's your favorite Halloween costume ever, Brian K?
Favorite Halloween costume ever. Probably the time that me and my buddy dressed up as Top Gun.
That sounds really masculine. That sounds like you guys were
Goose and Maverick.
Just walking around like alpha males. Definitely very masculine costumes.
A lot of compliments.
Yeah, so Brian K and I, he's alluding to a costume that we did together where we went as Goose and Maverick in college.
Who was who?
To a frat party.
Yeah, I was Goose because I had a mustache. And Brian K was Maverick.
Cruz was short.
The biggest problem with that costume was when we were seen together, we looked like a gay couple, which nothing wrong with it, except in college might not have been the best way to get chicks at a Halloween party. And then when we were separate, we looked like astronauts or something. Like, it was a really bad costume. It was horrible. It was horrible.
It wasn't great.
It was the worst costume ever. We bought them online. They were just like some jumpsuits or whatever. And I don't know.
They ripped immediately.
Yeah, that was a rough one. I was talking about my blackface costume from freshman year too.
Well, that was a rough one.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
It was John.
John didn't say anything about college. He was Pinocchio one year when he was like in his mid-20s.
It wasn't Halloween though, but we'll say it was a Halloween costume. Yeah, I did Pinocchio. Went to a pee party.
What was the last year that you trick or treated, Brian K?
Oh boy, like for that candy?
Yeah.
I might have went one time in high school.
Whoa, that's pretty old, dude.
Yeah, I can't really remember.
Well, you have younger brothers, so maybe you were taking them around. Maybe
that
use that as an excuse.
And I'm definitely going to use that as an excuse.
Yeah. Do you remember your last like trick or treating Halloween costume by any chance, or like a later one? Like your preteen, teen costumes, like anything like that would be funny.
I usually dress up as like a sports guy because that was my alley.
Just like throw a jersey on and say that's who you were.
Throw a jersey on and I was a sports guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically.
I went like as Marshall Faulk one year. I went as a.
Did you do blackface?
I went as a baseball. That was cool. I did not do blackface.
Yeah. Marshall Falk. Yeah. You went as a baseball. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Brian Kay going as an athlete is kind of like me going as Fred Durst. Same thing.
Or a skateboarder.
Right. Or a skateboarder.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. You guys should dress up like me for Halloween.
Oh, like what? Like, should we pick a decade of you to dress up as? Like your Weezer cool. Decade?
Yeah. My Weezer decade, my Nirvana
your skateboarding decade.
Skateboarding decade. Studious decade.
Your blackface decade.
Yeah, that was bad. I was thinking if this podcast, the nice part about really the main reason why we're getting this episode out and on the airwaves is in case this podcast ever gets big in the future, that I'll at least have a pre-recorded episode explaining my blackface costume so that it's not
your apology episode.
Well, it would be like, it's not a reactive apology. It's like, I wasn't doing blackface. I was doing this. So they can just, so it's already out there.
Because you didn't delete your pictures off Facebook, right?
I deleted my whole Facebook
your account.
Yes.
The pictures are definitely somewhere.
Brian K might actually have access to them. Chances are he does.
I would have to do some digging, but it'd be a
Maybe
tough
we'll tease
find.
them out for our fans.
I don't know.
Tease one out.
We'll do it, but we'll blur my face.
I learned today that a ChatGPT query uses about as much energy and power as all the power to charge your phone.
That's
holy
awesome.
smokes! Are you kidding me?
Wow, for real?
Yeah.
Oh,
for real. Talking about, I was listening to an article about how all these tech companies they're going into nuclear power because they need all their service centers, all their data centers need like all this power to run AI.
All right, Brian K. Well, we'll let you go. Thanks for answering. You got anything else to leave the fans with?
No, I got nothing on the top of my head, but thanks for the phone call.
Yeah, maybe I should have given you a heads up, but I wanted to catch you off guard a little bit.
You sure did.
Yeah. Well, thanks for picking up, and thanks for listening as always.
See you guys.
All right, see ya.
You're the best. See ya.
All right. Well, just
great fan.
He's very great fan. He keeps up to date. Just one last
thing.
Some of
our listeners, he gave us some of the best feedback from the very beginning. He was
the one behind the yes. We had one more fan mail that I wanted to get to. It says, excellent solo episode, Matt. I never knew Edward Norton had such a rich background. I've been a fan of his since American History X, but never knew how much. I'm just getting to that. That's pretty So that's
we need to cast Edward Norton in a biopic of Edward Norton. Obviously,
I never knew Edward Norton. I don't know why. I think that's so funny. I never knew Edward Norton had such a rich background. I've been a fan of his since American History X, but never knew how deep his past ran. As for costumes, if we're talking nailing history topics, I think an OJ and Kato costume would be great. Well, there's the second OJ choice. That would be a good one. Cheeseburgers and all. That would be a good like, tandem.
You get OJ and Kato just ate with just bags of McDonald's, just like in like a jacuzzi somewhere.
That's funny. Emily M might be able to tag it. I think her favorite Halloween costume was always French fries, McDonald's French fries. She bought a costume and that always was her favorite. So she could kind of tie into that. That'd be pretty funny. You both could pull that off. Well, we already kind of went over that. I think we might be past our time for being able to pull off that. Otherwise, for historical costumes, I love a good Captain Jack Sparrow. Very historical. He was definitely.
So I think they meant to say Captain Blackbeard.
He was definitely. No, I don't think so. He was definitely the best pirate. I'm not sure. Oh yeah. Okay. So that was it.
Yeah.
Stay classy, Dick Pepperfield. Which I think I know who this is. We'll give him a call and see if we can get him to answer. Chances are very slim on this one, but you never know. He could think it's an emergency. That's usually why people answer. I think anymore is like, wait, why is he calling me?
Yeah, they definitely have your number saved.
Is this Dick Pepperfield?
Mr. Pepperfield.
This is Dick Copperfield.
Hey, this is Matt and John with the Nailing History podcast. Just calling, doing some returning of our fan mail, and just wanted to say thanks for getting back to us.
Hey, man. Thank you.
I gotta say, was laughing pretty hard at your response.
You like that?
I like the cheeseburgers addition to the OJ and Kato costume. That would be a nice touch.
I mean, you got to have them because it ties it all together. And it's called
nuance.
That was pretty good. Just curious, what's your favorite Halloween costume that you ever dressed up as?
There's many to choose from.
Jesus.
I mean, probably at the end of the day, it's probably Charlie Kelly.
Okay, the Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one because you look a little bit like him, so you definitely pulled that off pretty well. That was a college costume, I guess. What was the last year What was the last year that you remember trick or treating?
Last year, I was like in terms of receiving candy.
Yeah, like going out and actually like.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, probably. Pre-COVID.
COVID is what really did it for you.
Just threw a wrench in everything.
Yeah, I mean, after that, it ruined everything.
What would happen if you were just like
cameras, all the Ring cameras on everyone's houses? You kind of,
What would happen if you just
people get mad? What was that?
Like, what would you think if you were just hanging out at your house doing trick or treating or whatever, like doing Halloween and waiting for people to come, and then just a group of 5 to 6 men in their mid-30s just doing a straight up trick or treat run? Like, what do you do? Do you turn them away?
Are they cool?
Yeah, they're like us, dressed up as Edward Norton, as Emperor Norton.
They got a trick, I got a treat. That's all I got to say.
There you go. You heard it from the man himself. The other thing that we wanted to bring up as far as mustard goes, what we were alluding to, there is a Kosciuszko mustard out there. And
no, really?
They have 3 choices, correct?
That's correct.
They have coarse ground, they have just regular spicy brown, and then they have, is it a beer mustard, John?
Beer mustard. Yep. Yeah.
Beer mustard.
Now we have
you know what?
You can get it, but
I hate to say it, but this guy is growing on me.
I know, right? Even the mustard, right?
Well, I didn't know about the mustard, but John's been doing a great job with this guy. And I feel like that last step was, it was very informative.
Yeah, you got a little bit of, you kind of starting to realize that he's not such a chooch.
He might now be a jabroni.
Yeah.
After all.
Yeah.
He just has a jabroni name.
Matt and I have come to the conclusion now. Who are we speaking with again? I know you by an alias.
Dick Pepperfield.
Come again?
No, Dick Pepperfield. If I recall correctly, I think you have some Italian American heritage as well. And Matt and I were saying that maybe Columbus Day needs to take the pine. We can't really wrap our heads around why it is that Columbus has his own day.
We started the episode talking about how Christopher Columbus might be a Spanish Jew, and they're taking that away from the Italians. And
I mean, if they're taking it away, this could be devastating.
I mean, I don't know if
legit.
Do you replace it with a Kosciuszko Day? That's my question, or a Garibaldi Day.
Well, Kosciuszko wasn't an Italian American.
Kosciuszko Day. I mean, he deserves a day. I think.
I mean, that one, if there was a Polish American Day, it would be Kosciuszko. So I don't know if there is one. I don't know when we would celebrate like Polish American heritage, but Columbus Day is for Italian American heritage, Dick Pepperfield. So if you were to pick one Italian that would replace Christopher Columbus, what would it be? Who would it be as far as for a national holiday?
One Italian to replace.
Mm-hmm.
This is
really put you on the spot, I know.
This is on the spot. A little prep time could have helped in this case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One Italian.
Maybe spaghetti.
And Tony Soprano's not eligible?
He's eligible.
He's I don't know, maybe Frankie.
Just generic.
Who could we put in?
Frankie Sinatra. Yeah, he's talking about Frank Sinatra. That was a choice, yeah.
The people would love it.
Mm-hmm.
Old blue eyes.
Maybe Tony Roney.
Tony Roney.
Mussolini.
Mario Cuomo. The Cuomo boys.
Cuomo.
What other food is there that's really the Italian food mascot?
Yeah, I was thinking like this SpaghettiOs guy,
Chef
maybe.
Chef Boyardee, was he Italian?
Yeah, let's get Chef Boyardee Day. He must be.
Imagine Chef Boyardee's not Italian. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you think Chef Boyardee is like Boyardee's pasta's tasty?
Is that Boyardee's pasta tasty?
It was founded by Ettore Boiardi.
There you go. I heard it from the man himself.
I'm not
Wait a minute. You on Wikipedia?
Is proud Italian American.
There you go.
Huh?
So Boyardee
Sorry,
Day.
Dick Pepperfield. Chef Boyardee Day.
If he's Italian.
There you go.
We could work on that gravy.
You don't like Chef Boyardee's gravy?
Do you?
I haven't had it in a bit. I'll say that much.
What about John?
John?
Nah. I make my own.
I've been yelled at in his family's house for calling it
American.
That's valid.
I don't know if it's a geographical thing with Italians, but he comes from a family who does not call it gravy. I don't know if there's geopolitical reasoning for that. But
where's he from?
Where are you from, John?
Well, my clan of Italians come from Roseto, Pennsylvania.
Where are you from in Italy?
Eastern Pennsylvania, Sicily, and Puglia.
Where are you from, Dick?
What'd you call me?
Dick Pepperfield.
Yeah, the full name, please. Originally, back in the old country. Here and there about.
Where on the boot would you say you were from? The heel?
Lower calf.
The ankle.
Like high ankle.
Would we have been
low
paisans
calf.
is the question.
Some from the big toe.
It's all
Calabria?
over.
Okay.
All over the boot there.
We got around.
That's good.
But not Sardinia.
Not Sardinia. What's wrong with
Screw that
Sardinia?
place.
Well, I guess we'll have to get into
I
that.
don't want to talk about it. We have to get.
All right, Dick. Well, we appreciate you answering the phone. We got Brian K on here. We got Emily M on here. Andrew S didn't answer. He's too busy, I guess.
He shot you down.
He did, yeah. But we wanted we just wanted to respond. We want to make sure that the fan mail keeps going, so we wanted to give you a personalized call to respond.
Well, you kept just begging for a text message.
Well,
so I had to shoot a couple over. I love the show. Listen to every episode.
Thank you. Well, this one will be coming out on Halloween, so enjoy it, and I hope you have a good holiday. And
I will be celebrating this year.
Oh, are you dressing up this year?
We'll see. We'll see.
Now, I will say, of all the people that I know, as far as Halloween costumes and creativity and humor, Mr. Dick Pepperfield is one of the best. He usually brings it pretty good on Halloween, so I got to give it to him.
I appreciate that.
Yep. He's one of the best. So if you ever need a tip,
I try. I do what I can.
Yeah. Now, and your suggestions were great. So,
all right. I think you guys should maybe take some video, put some pictures up
of us dressed as OJ and Kato. Just take some video.
Yeah. Throw it up on the Twitter account.
Should we just reenact the night of OJ and Kato?
Even better.
Like Kato getting yelled at for leaving the Jets on in the hot tub, and then like go to McDonald's. Okay.
Take your bit from the show, polish it up, add some more, do a little skit.
There you go. You heard it from our number one fan, John. That's what we need to do. That'll get us some. That will get it. Now I'll say this much: if we do that, that would get us some attention out there.
That would get you a pop, I think.
Good or bad, that would get us a pop.
Get that wig.
Either way.
You'll
Either
be
way. There's no bad publicity.
You still have the makeup, I'm sure.
From being blackface. Yeah, I could probably dig it up somewhere. It's been a couple years.
Do it your way. I'm not going to tell you how to do it.
All right. Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you for that.
That was a great idea. Thanks for the feedback.
No problemo.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You guys too.
Thank you, Mr. Pepperfield.
Stay curious.
Be peace. Well, there you have it, John.
That's my line.
There you have it.
I'm really getting through to him.
About what?
Awesome. He's a
pistol, that guy.
Heavy hitters.
He's a pistol, that guy.
Back heavy hitters, dude.
Yeah.
Guy comes from all over Italy. I'm jealous.
I'm still getting over reading his fan mail for the first time and realizing what he was actually saying. That's pretty good. Gotta give it to him. I guess anything else, John? You got anything else to say? I mean, we dug into the Christopher Columbus saga a bit. Got some fan reactions at Halloween.
Yeah, just be safe out there if you're out there with your kids.
Hope you guys enjoy your Halloween, and hopefully we got you guys thinking about some good costumes, and hope you guys pick a historical costume and go to a party and be able to teach everybody about it. So
have fun, stay safe, but even more importantly, stay curious.
All right, fans, have a good one.
And we say bye-bye.